Welcome to the Woke Wild Women's podcast. I am Roxanne Sailors. I am a life coach, a doula, which is a birth coach. I am a fitness coach, musician, all-around Renaissance woman, working to awaken myself and others. And I met Bethany about 2-ish years ago, and Bethany is my co-host. Bethany, take it away.
Hello, I'm Bethany Evans. I am an early childhood educator and an ontological life coach. I also do tarot card readings, and I'm a mom. And I'm really passionate about supporting women and just seeing the divine feminine energy rise on this planet. So thank you for tuning in.
And today we are interviewing Charleen Hess, who is my soul sister, my support, and an amazing woman creating all kinds of awakening in the world. So Charleen, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Roxanne. I'm very excited to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming a woke wild woman, or as you see that in your life.
Okay. Well, as Roxanne introduced me, my name is Charleen Hess, and I am also a life coach. It seems that we are a life coach trio here. I specialize in helping people to look, feel, and be their best self. I do that as a hairdresser. I've been doing hair for 28 years, and I absolutely love it. It is my way that I get to connect with other women and men, but it's this really special place where they put themselves into my hands, the most vulnerable part of themselves, their head, their appearance, the way that they want to present themselves to the world. They entrust that to me, and I have the honor of being able to create and unveil beauty for them that I feel like already exists, but I just get to bring it out. And I'm also a fitness coach, so I help people to connect to their body, to be able to get into their body so that they can experience and express themselves in their life more freely without aches and pains and limitations, which also includes self-limiting beliefs about your body and what it's capable of doing. And that is where I come in, as I'm also a life coach, in that I help people to identify what their limiting beliefs are so that they can break through and create the life that they've always dreamed of. The way that I do that is by helping people to connect more deeply to themselves. And I believe that every single answer that we are looking for outside there in the world already exists inside of you, and that the only way to get to that answer, to find those answers, is to have a deeper self-connection, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And that's what I feel super passionate about helping people do, because I lived the exact opposite. That is my version or my understanding of what is a wild woke woman, is being so connected to yourself that you are awake, that you are able to consciously understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, so that as you walk through life, yes, you're going to be triggered. Yes, you're going to have obstacles. Yes, there's going to be things that you do that you don't necessarily want to do, or you're going to react or respond in a way that you don't really want to respond. But if you're doing it from a conscious place and you're always working towards that higher self, you win. And so so that is really what I feel like life and being a woke woman is all about, is being able to walk through life with intention and consciousness, being so connected to ourselves that we allow our open hearts to shine through, to care for and nurture the world, because as women, I believe that that's what our innate gifts are.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
So tell me a little bit about how you came to that place of realizing that you needed to awaken from the I don't know, about your backstory. From your childhood, from your roots.
So like I was saying, the reason I'm so passionate about that is because I lived the exact opposite of that. It all started when I was pretty young. I'm the youngest of 13 children. And I say that, yes, everyone's like, what? And I used to say that I was, the afterthought. I was the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm the youngest child, and I grew up in a family of absolute chaos and dysfunction and abuse. And very early age was taught that you have to perform, you have to behave, you have to act and be a certain way in order to be loved, accepted, included. And if you didn't act and behave a certain way, if you let the outside world know that there was any type of chaos, then it was, grave danger. Because I grew up in an abusive family, we always had children's services involved. And so we were taught at a very young age to lie to children's services, don't tell them what's really going on. Instead, just put on a happy face and paint a very different picture for the world to see than what's really going on inside. And the threat was always that if children's services found out what was really going on, then all of us would be separated. We would all be put in different homes and we wouldn't be allowed to be together. And so we were all, a very enmeshed family. And that was like the worst thing that could ever happen in our eyes, was to be separated. So we were willing to lie about the abuse and just put on that exterior and shut down what's going on inside. And as you do that, you completely lose connection to yourself. You lose a sense of what's real, and you start living in this sort of fantasy made-up world that you create in your mind. So fast forward that message that I'm carrying and wearing and going through the world of being completely disconnected from my true self and being connected to what I believed other people wanted me to be. And I got married at a very young age. I got married, met my husband when I was 19 years old, and he was 34. And I thought that I was making a very different choice. I got involved in a very conservative and strict religion, and lived a life with somebody who suffered from narcissistic personality disorder for 19 years. And so in that marriage, it was like sort of that perfect storm where as an empath who didn't know herself, and I knew myself inside, but I didn't present who I truly was because I was just being who I was supposed to be. It worked really well in that relationship because with my ex-husband, we're dealing with narcissistic personality disorder. He had created his own fantasy world as well. And I just fit perfectly right there into that. And it worked great for being in the church that I was in because I was such a good Christian and I behaved exactly as I was supposed to. And on the outside, it looked like I had this really amazing life, that my whole life was put together. I had 2 beautiful children. I owned my own business. I owned my own home. I volunteered in the church. I was part of PTA. All the while I was completely dying inside because I was so disconnected from who I truly was as a woman, as a human. I was just playing a role, and I had no joy in my life. And eventually I started to just completely break down and actually get sick. And so going through years and years and years of counseling, marriage counseling, I finally found a life coach and started working with a life coach, and she worked on healing the core wounds. And it was just the perfect timing where I knew that if I didn't make a change that I was going to die. Like I couldn't continue to live this way. I just didn't exist. And having a daughter who, I have 2 beautiful children who are very awake, very aware. And I knew when they were born that there was something special about them. And I really wanted to nurture in them what was never nurtured in me. And so as I began to do that and connecting with my daughter, I had this realization one day, and I'll never forget. I was doing a client's hair, and she was sharing a story with me about how she was going to be leaving her husband. And I was shocked because she always seemed like she had this perfect marriage and she had 2 teenage boys. And I was just riveted listening to her. And the thing that she said, and I'll never forget, she said, I realized that as my boys are going into high school, they're going to soon be leaving for college, and they will grow up and their whole lives have never known who I really was. And that resonated with me so much because I realized that my children don't know who I am. They know this version of me that I have presented before them. They know the reactive version of me. They know the protective, because I protected them very much from the reality of who their father was. And I realized I am doing exactly the same thing that happened to me growing up, that I am not having a real life. I'm having the fake life, the pretend life. And I thought, my daughter is she's going to continue the same path. She will marry a man just like her dad. My son will become just like his dad and marry a woman who's just like me. And I don't like me. I didn't like that. It wasn't me. I wasn't in my authenticity in any way. And I just knew this had to change. And so that resonated in my brain for so long. And I also had another client who was like, hey, I'm going to become a life coach. And this is what I'm doing. And this is what I'm learning. And I'm like, sign me up. I'll be your client. And I've been with her for more than 10 years. And anyway, through working through life coaching, perfect timing, it just awakened everything that I already knew inside of me. And she helped me to be able to tap into that wisdom. And she would always tell me, you are your own guru. And I was searching so much out there for the answers, for joy, for anything, because I knew what I was experiencing wasn't right, but I didn't know that the answers were inside of me. And so as I began to work with this particular life coach, she helped point me back to me, which is, of course, why I am so passionate about helping other women and men, humans, do the same thing.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Charleen. You've learned so much through your experience, and so now you are taking your message out into the world. Tell us what you are creating right now.
So what am I creating right now? Like 500 things.
Yep, we always are as women, right?
Yes. So like I was sharing in the beginning, I'm really passionate about helping people to connect to their deepest self. Visually, the way that they feel about their appearance doing hair. That I've been doing for so long, and I can do it in my sleep. The area that I'm working on and creating and growing is sharing this message that I feel was given to me by my life experiences and through meditation. When I really sit still and I tap in, it's just really clear to me the thing that I see that's really missing in people's lives is play. That is being in this transformation world, right? Like I've been transforming and in this transformation world for a long time. I've been, reading self-help books and doing life coaching and doing counseling and, praying and meditating and just diving so deep into my experience of trying to change my world that it can get so serious and we forget to play. And play is such a huge piece of who we are as human beings. Think about when you're a little kid, like everything is play, everything is imagination. And it's so awesome if you have children. Like I think Bethany, you have a little one, right?
5.
Yeah. So what a perfect opportunity to play. Yeah. And I wish that I had realized this when my children were that age, because it's like I was so busy parenting. I was so busy trying not to fuck them up, right? I was so busy trying not to, I used to say that I'm not going to save for college. I'm going to save for therapy because I know they're going to need therapy.
I swear to God, that's how I feel every day.
Right? We don't need a college fund. We need a therapy fund.
Yeah.
But I didn't play with them. Like I remember just feeling like sitting there with my son playing action figures, and I'm just like, oh my God, I want to be anywhere but here, because it's like, I don't want to fight war. I'm trying to, like, create community and let's have them be friends. And he's like,
literally my every day. He's like, let's play Nerf War, Mom. And I'm like, I don't want to fight with you. That's not play for me.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then my daughter, I was so adamant, like I would not let her have Barbies because I didn't want to mess her up what her image of what a woman was supposed to be.
That's when you're like so conscious and aware that you're like,
yeah.
Oh man.
She thanks me for, I mean, we laugh about it now because I'm like, okay, maybe I was a little extreme. I could have relaxed a little bit. And I just got to spend some time with her in Europe. I flew over. She's traveling around the world for 6 months. And so I met her in Amsterdam and we got to hang out. She's 21 and she's so conscious and aware and awake. And she's like, I call her the ancient one. She's got so much wisdom. And she tells people, it's like, yeah, it's because my mom intentionally raised me. That's what she tells people, which is really funny. But anyway, we laugh about it because she's like, yeah, my mom, because she has a great body self-image, positive body image, great self-awareness. The couple of women friends that she has there that are about the same age, they do as well. And she's like, I think it's probably because my mom didn't let me play with Barbies. Like, well, I think you kind of got the idea, but yeah. But anyway, so I really want people to play and I want to help people to connect to play. And there's so many different things of play. Like there's so many different ways to play that transformation doesn't have to be all like serious, hard work. It can be fun and it can be light and it can be enjoyable. And there's so much wisdom. Our 5-year-olds, our inner 5-year-olds are so wise. They're so wise because they keep things so simple and so fun. And it was at that point, somewhere along the lines where we were told to grow up, like grow up, be serious, stop playing, stop fooling around, life is serious. And then we just like, as adults, we like latch onto that. And at some point we just realize we just stop playing because we have to be grown-ups. And so one of the things that I do is I do workshops. And so my workshops are called Return to Play. And I help people to tap into that play. It's also what I do with my fitness classes. I call my fitness classes Adult Recess. And it's so fun because they're still working out, right? They're still lifting weights. They're still working out. They're still sweating. They're still timed rounds. But when I call it recess and we change stations and they run around and we act a little silly and we throw a ball or have a rope, like it's so fun to watch their inner 5-year-olds, like 6-year-olds, 10-year-olds come out and play. So that is, what am I creating in the world is I'm helping people that are in the world of transformation to remember how to play. And for people that are just beginning transformation that are like, okay, I know that life's like, I know that what I'm doing isn't working, but I don't know what to do next. Then with them, I help them really tap into meditation and self-awareness and how to meditate, how to sit, how to be still, how to listen to the voices that are coming up in your head and what to do with them, not silence them, to actually listen to them because they're trying to tell you something, and then become friends with them and then use that as your self-awareness to go, this is what keeps showing up. Let's look at that. Let's investigate that. Investigate what story am I playing out? What story do I want to have? And then how to write a new script. So those are a lot of different things. And when you bring them all together, what I say is I've created the term MAP. So the Return to Play workshops are creating the map. So you're building a map to create your ideal life. And that map is meditation, awareness, and play. And that whatever situation that you come up in life, no matter where you're at, what you're doing, what I say is map it out. Meditate on it. Come to that sense of awareness and acceptance, right? So accepting your situation is huge. So that's your A in your map. So first you're going to meditate on it and be still, be with it. Have that acceptance and self-awareness. Okay, what's going on? What does this mean? What is this about? What story am I playing out? What story do I actually want to be playing out? And then the final piece is play. Okay, don't get too serious about it. Go outside and play. Or listen to your favorite song and dance in the kitchen. Or jump in a fountain, spin around. Or play with a hula hoop. Or laugh at something super silly. Or, you know, so many different things. So many different ways. And so that's kind of that's where I'm at now, is I'm creating these workshops where I can teach people how to create their own map. I have a workbook. People create their own version of meditation, because what meditation works for me may not work for you. And then awareness and acceptance. Like, what is self-awareness when you're sitting in meditation and all those monkey mind, you know, that monkey mind, monkey mind comes. And the way that I teach for building your map is, when those monkeys start chattering, to don't silence the monkeys. I say, get to know the monkeys. Who, like I said earlier, who are they? What are they saying? What voices are they? Whose voice is it? What message are they trying to give you? And then we create a playlist. So what's your playlist? What is it that you find as play? What brings you joy? What helps you tap into your inner 5-year-old? And then once you have all of this in your workbook, then you have your set. There's your map. Now you can go, and wherever you're at in life and whatever situation you're in, I just say, map it out.
Love it. Thank you. So how about your map? What does your map look like, Charleen?
Oh gosh. Okay. For meditation for me is being really still, sitting in silence for a really long time.
Which I have to say is really hard for Charleen to sit still.
Yes. Roxanne knows me. You know, it's so funny because I've had a lot of different coaches in my life. I have my main life coach, and then I had a business coach and a fitness coach and a health coach. And like, I've had a lot of different coaches, and a lot of them would be like, you know, they all tell me to meditate. And it was like the one area in life where I was like, can't happen. You don't understand. Like, my life is way too busy, too hectic. I can't meditate. And then I started working, following Kyle Cease, and just something about his message, the way that he said it, the timing, again, so much of it is a timing, because again, all of these answers are already inside of you. All these answers are already inside of me. And it was just the timing, the person's voice that unlocked that piece that I could go in and find that, yeah, sit still. So sitting in silence, ideally for an hour, is like my sweet spot, where if I'm in it for an hour, I can really I am connected to universal consciousness. Like, I come to, I am. And it's incredible. And I love being there. I don't always get to do that. And so other forms of meditation for my map are movement meditation. So just getting into my body, breathing and moving my body, walking in nature. So backpacking, hiking, being in nature is huge meditation for me. And also sitting at a beach, listening to the waves, right? I know that's your favorite too, Roxanne. It's like we're both drawn to the water.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Bethany too. She lives right there at,
yes.
It's not Venice Beach?
No, I live in Oxnard, Ventura.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Ventura. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I drove through there last year.
Yeah, I love it. I was born in Ventura. It's a little tiny beach town, and that's like my vibe. I can't live in a city. You know, I just, near the ocean and the waves, and then that calmness that it provides you is like what my soul needs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious, would both of you tell me, just, I know it's kind of on the spot, not having time to think about it, what type of meditation works for you?
Bethany, you go first.
Okay. I also have a hard time sitting still for a long time, but I don't know, like lately I've been noticing that my body around the same time every single day, like 2 or 3, gets really tired. And so I have to sit and just do nothing. I was telling Roxanne about this the other day, it's kind of like I get into that state where it's like you're not fully sleeping, but you're not fully awake. And my body literally just like does it on its own. It like doesn't even give me an option because
right.
I think that I don't give myself enough time. Like I have a 5-year-old, so I'm always up and I'm like catering to whatever he needs. And he also has a lot of energy. He's an Aries, so he's like super fiery and just like on the go all the time. So I feel like I'm constantly having to be up on my feet. So allowing myself that time in the afternoon to just sit, and whether it's like closing my eyes or just like sitting next to my son while he does something, you know, and but also driving, like I get into a meditative state when I drive. Also cooking and cleaning. Those are also things that allow me to get into that meditative state. Yeah, I'd say those are the biggest ones. I have to do guided meditations because I get really distracted by sound. So I have to listen to music or have somebody else guiding me through something. Otherwise, my mind goes off into so many weird places.
Right. And then you like you kind of sort of come back to like, whoa, where was
Right. I'm like, where did that? I'm like, where did I start from? What was I trying to do here?
Yes, exactly.
What's my goal?
Went down the rabbit trail.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's how I meditate.
Nice. Awesome. And Roxanne?
Movement for sure. Repetitive movement though. So, you know, cleaning, yes, definitely can put me in that state. Swinging my mace, especially when I put music on. And reading tarot. When I can take time in the morning, usually it's about a half an hour to just sit and look at the images and read about each card. And it's not so much that I'm reading for content. I'm actually kind of just looking at the words. I pick out patterns. So like, for example, today there were 4 cards that came up, and in each card description, certain words popped out at me, and the same words for each card, like grace and strength, came through all the cards. Grace and strength, and there's another one that I wrote down. I can't remember now, but to just be with the messages, like just quieting myself long enough to look at those messages. I do occasionally sit and meditate, just like eyes closed and just really focus on my breathing. But my breath work really comes from a lot more moving meditation. So whether it's swinging mace or club bells or hiking, hiking is another one that can really get me in that space, because it's giving my body something to do to like keep the energy moving, so that I don't have to mentally focus on where is my energy going and trying to control it. It's got a job to do over here. And then suddenly my brain, my thoughts will slow down enough that I can actually discern them. Because it is kind of like it's like a room full of people all talking at once, and I can't hear anything. But if I give enough people enough other stuff to do, then the ones that really need to speak will come through. So
I love that.
And sex. Sex is another great way when it's good.
Yeah.
Bad, it's maybe not so meditative.
Yep.
Awesome. Isn't it interesting how, so like everybody has their own way of tapping in and connecting, and you know, there's so many benefits to meditation, right? And there's so many different kinds of meditation. There's so many different ways to meditate. There's so many different reasons to meditate. And so going through and creating your creating your list, and you're building your map, it's like, try all of them. One day try this one, and find the one that you're going to do. Right? I think that's the biggest thing. When I was meditating for an hour and just sitting still, it was like, that one is not as reasonable for me to do because of my lifestyle. So to find the time to sit for an hour, or people that have small children, it's like, yeah, right.
Yeah, I wish.
Stillness and silence for an hour, especially as a single parent. It's like, wouldn't that be luxurious?
Yep.
Bathtub time is a great way. Yeah, is a great way. And then when I would meditate for an hour, it was like I always fell asleep.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, if I'm going to sit here for an hour, my body is like, oh, okay, well, it's time to sleep. And I'm like, no, we're not sleeping. There's this other thing called meditation that, my body's like, it's either go or we stop and sleep. My body didn't know how to do something in between. So it took a lot of practice for me. And Roxanne, I loved how you said it's like a whole bunch of people in the room all talking at once. I remember when I did successfully completed my first 1 hour meditation, and that was exactly what it was like. But I sort of correlated it more with being in a kindergarten room. And I was the moderator, and it was like there was one aspect of me who was like the kindergarten teacher, right? Which I believe was sort of my observer. And so like my observer is there, and it's like, open up the doors, and there's all the kindergartners, and they're all talking at once. Yeah. And they all want to be heard, and they're all just there, and they're like super needy, and they're like, but I want to say this, and I want to say this. And it's like all around. So it was like, okay, all right. So first of all, let's take attendance and see who's here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so that's what I did. So I was like, okay, who's here? First, like the loudest one screaming is the taskmaster, right? Like, you need to do this and this and this and this. And don't you know you should be doing this and you should be doing this? And I'm like, okay, I hear you. And I'm going to get that whole list done. Like, you go over there. Yeah. You go over there. You write those, make me a list. And we'll come back to it. And then the other really loud one was the critic. Are you doing this right? Maybe you should have music. You probably should be sitting cross-legged. No, maybe if you lay down. No, so really, if you just do it this way, I don't think that you're doing it right. There's probably a better way to do it. So maybe you should look up how to do it better. What if you were journaling? Wouldn't that be way more effective? You should be journaling right now.
Are you in my head?
Write down this process. I know. Right?
Right? Exactly. Why it's so
then I'm like, okay, so my taskmaster. And so what I would do is I'd name them.
That's awesome.
Right? Okay, both of those are my dad, by the way. So I didn't name them Tom, because then that's too triggering. So I was like, okay. So, and sometimes their names change. And so kind of like naming them. And the one that I really want to get to is the little kindergartner that's really quiet, sitting in the corner. She's not going to speak up. She's not going to make waves. But I'm like always like looking around like, hey, where is she? Is she here today? That's who I really want to give a chance to speak. Yeah. And so that's kind of what meditation is like for me when I'm in this particular type of meditation, is it's acknowledging everyone in the room. Yeah. Letting them know you're here, you're welcome, you're part of this experience, you're part of me, and I love you, and I want you here, and you have a purpose. But right now, I really want to hear what Heart has to say, and that's what I call Heart. And so like Heart has something that she wants to say, and I can't hear what she's saying because it's too loud in here. Yeah. So like Roxanne was saying, give them something to do. Like I've got to give my taskmaster something to do. Yeah. So if I'm hiking while meditating, she's really happy. Yeah. Because she's like, cool, we are like, we're multitasking. Yeah. Yep. Cool, we get to check that off our list. Yeah. And then doing it right is, we have critic and I have lots of conversations. But essentially, that's really what it is. And so the more frequently that I do that, the more quickly I can tap into Heart, the more that she's able to speak up. She's able to share more because she's becoming more practiced at having a voice. Yeah. And there's, and there's fear. Fear comes in. It's all very real. It's all like, all these parts are parts of me, and they're aspects of me that I have picked up through my life. All of my strategies, my coping mechanisms and strategies that I learned that aren't working anymore. And how do I know they're not working? Because I keep showing up in ways that I don't want to. Yeah. Right? That's the awareness piece. Is it's like, okay, I totally blew that situation. That's not what I wanted to do. Or I'm so triggered by this right now. Yeah. Like, whoo, and I want to like react. But it's not about the situation, but it's so alive and real in my body right now. Like, how do I cope with that? That's how I know that I'm disconnected. That's how I know that, okay, someone's not being heard and nobody else can do that for me. Yeah. I used to look outside of myself, look into relationships. If only my kids would behave this way, if only my work was going better, if only I was making more money, if only my boyfriend would have said the right thing, I wouldn't have to be here in this trigger.
My God.
Right? Like how many times have we had this conversation?
Yeah. Don't you learn?
love it. Well,
No.
one of the things that I love what you said, find something that works and have a number of different strategies. Something that Bethany and I were talking about recently. I don't know if it was on the podcast or just a conversation, but our meditation, our self-care looks different throughout the month. And I think as women, we have an innate connection with cycles, with the ever-changing, ever-shifting energy of the universe and our bodies. So I love that you have this, playlist. Like there's a number of different ways to meditate. There's a number of different ways to have that story of self-awareness, whether it's the kindergarten room or it's the party and all these people, or whatever it is that resonates for you in that moment. But to recognize that in the moment what will work best, and to have a number of different options to try. So.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
There's no one right way, and we get stuck in that in society, thinking we have to do what everyone else is doing because everyone's doing it, and it works for them, so it's going to work for me, right?
Exactly.
Not necessarily.
Exactly. We're always, it takes us back to, again, just looking out. Well, they must have it figured out.
Yeah.
I don't know what's best for me. They know what's best for me.
Right.
Going to the doctor, it's like, oh, the doctor's going to tell me what's best for me. And it's like, you know what's best for you. Well, I'm going to go to the doctor to see if he'll allergy test me, because I wonder if I'm having a sensitivity to wheat. Bingo.
Probably are then. You just
did.
Identified it
How
yourself.
do you know? Because you identified it.
Right.
But we need to go to the doctor, and the doctor needs to be the one to tell us, because we're always giving our power away.
Yeah.
Right. And so like helping, and I love that that's what you and Roxanne do too. It's like helping women, helping us to reclaim our power, to bring it back. That's part of being awake, is like looking at situations. And one of the things that my coach, we were talking, and she said, I started to realize I'm giving this situation way too much power.
Yep.
I'm giving this situation way too much power over me. I need to like reclaim it and reel it back in.
Yep. Yeah. And that's where our power is, in realizing that that's what we're doing, and claiming it. No.
Yes.
Take it
exactly.
back. I have the power. I can control, how I deal with the situation. It's not,
right.
We're not at the effect of what's happening outside of us.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so those are those like two aspects, of awareness, and then meditation. And then now that you do have this awareness, like what you just said, Bethany, it's like, okay, that effect, I'm taking that effect back. Right. And getting into the habit, like Roxanne was saying, of having lots of different strategies of, okay, I know that I'm a cyclical person in this particular cycle, or where I'm at right now, this is the strategy that's going to work for me, because this is what resonates now. And so having that list that you go to, and it's an ever-growing, ever-changing list.
Yes.
You're always adding to it.
Yeah, I was going to say, and then sometimes we get attached to doing things one way that worked for a time, and then we try to do it again. And then we're like, it didn't work. Something must be wrong.
Right.
It's like, no, just let it go and do something different.
Yes, exactly. Right. Just do that.
Right. Easy. Just do that.
Right. As you're arguing with yourself, no, but it worked this way so many times, we have to do exactly this way.
Right. I know. Yeah. That's our control freak.
Right. Exactly. Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it's a journey, it's a walk, it's completely independent of anyone else. And it's super individualized.
Yep.
Got to find what works for you. Yeah. And then it's like your playlist. What's play?
I love that.
What is play? So I would love, like, would you guys tell me just different things, just like what comes to you when you think about playing? What comes up for you? What comes to you?
Bethany's got a whole bunch. Go for it.
Yeah, it was funny. I was going to mention it earlier. Back when I was working with my coach, I guess, what was it, last year? I think it was last year. When you're working with a life coach, you get into all this deep, dark shit, right? And it is difficult sometimes to come out of that and see how it's helping you. Like you said, it's difficult to remember to play with it and remember that it's actually like benefiting you. And so I did this whole thing, which was 30 days of play, and I documented it, and I like observed myself and what I did. And it was very aware and conscious of it. And I think I documented it, some of it on Instagram. Yeah, it was just like, I had so many profound realizations about like first identifying like within myself the feminine and the masculine, and like how my feminine plays and how my masculine plays.
Oh, interesting.
And being able to see when they were both showing up and if they were working together. Also the state of being I had to be able to be in order to play. And of course having my son, you know, who wants to play all the time. That's all he ever, Mom, can we play? Can we play? You know, and to him, it's whatever. Play is just a way of being, right? It's just life.
Yes.
5-year-old. And so it was really easy for me to observe that with him. And he opened up that space for me to try new things, right? So to put myself into situations, because I'm very much no, I don't want to do that. No, that's I don't want to get too dirty. I don't want to get wet. I don't, you know, no, don't hit me, you know, things like that. So allowing myself to kind of just let loose and not be so afraid of getting wet, you know, and wrestling on the ground or, you know,
right.
Things like that. So anyway, for me, I just realized that play is, I don't know, it's different. It's different all the time. It's whatever in the moment feels good, right? So sometimes it's dancing, sometimes it's singing. Well, a lot of the time it's singing, but painting, just talking to a friend. Sometimes it's just watching TV, and that's fun for me. Reading. What else? Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to pinpoint it because after doing that 30 days of play thing, I realized that I could make anything playful, you know?
Yes.
And so now I'm like, I don't know. It just depends on, you know, what's happening in the moment. What do I feel like doing in the moment? And that's the beauty.
Yes. Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
It's the mindset shift.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I had. I was realizing that it started with the awareness of I am not playing. I'm fucking miserable. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I'm creating it, right? I'm keeping myself from being happy. So
yes.
What can I do to be happy, right? And then you have to look at all the things that you're thinking that are in the way of you being happy, just doing what you're doing, right? And seeing that there are opportunities everywhere for you to just enjoy yourself and play. And you don't have to actually do something like plan a trip or go spend money on this, or, you know what I'm saying? It can just be as
absolutely
simple as taking a walk around the block, you know, or playing squirt guns with my son in the front yard, you know?
Yes. Yes. Okay. I want you at my workshops. You nailed it. You nailed it.
Oh.
I totally want to do the 30 days of play. Can I take that? Can I borrow that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's
it.
great. What was that?
I hashtagged it on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah,
awesome. I'm gonna use your hashtag, and I'm gonna challenge people to the 30 days of play.
Yes.
So I love that because that sounds like I want to do that challenge.
Right?
Like I do a 30-day meditation challenge, and people are like, "Oh, I should sign up for that."
Right?
Probably that would be really good for me to do. You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
But 30 days of play, people are like, "Okay, I want to be challenged to that," and then they realize it's hard.
Yeah, because you're like, what do I do? Because then you're like, how do I do play right? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it right,
guys? Exactly. Oh my God, that's the best in the workshops is, am I doing it right? And I'm like, it's play.
I don't know. Are you having fun? Is that fun to think about?
Yes, exactly. Is it fun? It has to be fun and pointless. It has to be fun, and it produces no actual result other than experience of joy.
Yeah.
It's the only result. If you're not experiencing joy, then there it is.
One of the things that came to me was play as our direct pathway to joy. That was one of, you know, and I journaled all kinds of different things, and I was like really surprised. And I go back and read what I had written. I was like, wow, that's actually some pretty profound things in something as simple as playing.
Yes.
And that's why children, I think, are our greatest teachers in life. And I could get into a whole conversation about that, but
I love it. Yeah. That's it. That's my mission right there is help people to tap into that. Like, yes, be awake, be aware, be conscious, do your work, dive deep, unravel, and play.
Yeah.
And play and have fun with it
too. When you're
oh my God,
your shit.
That is the best shift. It is the best shift. It's like when you're in that place where it's like, okay, I'm really deep, I'm in here, and it's like you've lost sight of the surface, like the surface no longer exists. It's like, okay, start laughing.
Right. Yeah.
Like realize what you look like creative mental picture. Like if you were to draw a comic strip here.
Yeah. Do you know how ridiculous you look right now?
Right, exactly. like what would the little character be like saying down there in that pit? You know, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah. So I love that. And so, Roxanne, what about you? Tell me about your play. I know music is a big one, but that's also meditation for you.
Yeah. Two things come up. First of all, I grew up, yes, in a musical home. My mother used to sing the Mary Poppins song, Spoonful of Sugar.
Yes.
And so for a long time, I had that relationship to whatever I'm doing that I don't like, I can make it fun. And then it started turning into I could only have fun if I was doing something, like doing something productive. So I love that you said, play needs to have no other outcome other than joy. Because for me, it was like, well, I have to play and do laundry, and then I can go outside and play and swing my mace. Because it doesn't produce anything. Well, it does. It produces a, more fit body and all that stuff. But like even, just like, I don't know. I mean, whatever we're doing to produce joy is going to produce something. But, it was just that taskmaster. So for me, play is very, it's funny. I like to say that it's elusive, but it's really not. I know exactly what play is, but I stop myself from it a lot, because I'm not allowed to play until I've done my work. And so it's just kind of a marrying of those two things, making play my work and making work my play. So yeah, and I don't remember, one of you or both of you said, it's not so much what you're doing, it's that state of mind that you're in when you are playing. So it's easiest for me to tap into play when I am when I'm moving my body. I grew up playing sports, especially volleyball. I love that kind of super active where things are moving so fast you don't really have a chance to like analyze it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And yes, definitely music is meditation and play. And I also have a lot of rules around it because I was a music minor and I was a performer for years. And so, it has to look a certain way. And really for me, play is an act of unraveling those shoulds and have tos. And when you get to that moment where it just is, that's play.
Yep.
A lot of it is wiggles. Like even when I was a kid, it was just moving around, doing weird stuff. This is play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, just playing with your body. See what your body does, right? Oh, my body feels interesting when I do this.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Play, for me, play is being really silly and laughing at myself. Play is like a lot of what you described, Bethany, is exactly like same for me. It's like everything is play. Every moment is play. Every day is play. I can just tap into it like so easily because I am an absolute goofball. I am such a goofball, but I trained myself for so many years to be serious, right? Because growing up in my chaotic family, it was like, don't draw attention.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Be the best at what you do. Be the best, but don't draw attention. It's like, how do I do that? So that has been like this like message throughout my life that I've been trying to unravel and unpack of like, okay, I have to be the best, but I don't want to be better than anybody else.
Yes. Oh my God.
Because I really want everybody to win. Like really, I want everybody to win. I want to win, but I want everybody to win too.
Right.
And don't draw attention. It's like, I kind of draw attention even without trying. It's just, like
Yep.
I'm the color of fire. I kind of draw attention. I've tried so hard to hide my whole life, and I used to think that I was hiding. Oh my God. I have to tell you a really hilarious story. when I was in middle school, I got in a lot of trouble. I got suspended like 3 times. It was at the age when my parents left. So my dad left when I was 10 and went from this really strict, super strict household where it was like, I mean, we had to like count how many times we chewed before we swallowed. And my dad would like be like, you know, like it just really, and then he would like be absent and then it would be like, okay, we can breathe. And then he'd be back and be like, okay, all the rules, like we had to have our hair brushed at the counter and we had to say, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And like just all of this chaos. So then he left and it was like, we were all like, what do we do? You know, and my mom was an alcoholic and she was in the bedroom all the time, just, you know, drunk. I didn't know that she was drunk at the time, but she just was sick, you know, in her room all the time. And so we were like, all of a sudden, like free for all, like we didn't know how to act or how to behave without this like authoritarian, you know, dragon breathing down our neck. And then my mom met a man and left. So I didn't have any parents, like no parents whatsoever. So then I was like, okay, I'm just like navigating through the world. So that was like when I was 12. And so as I went through school, I stayed in school and I went to school. I really wanted, you know, attention. And so I did a lot of crazy things for attention. Also, I didn't have a very realistic of what was okay and what wasn't okay, because sometimes what wasn't okay was okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know when it was going to be okay and when it wasn't going to be okay. So anyway, I really acted out in middle school. And so I was on the bus and I used to think that I could hide, like nobody would know it was me. Like I really thought that I was invisible because in my home I was invisible, right? I'm like number 13.
Yeah.
And so I would do things and I would totally straight face lie. Like, no, it wasn't me. Okay, thank goodness there weren't like surveillance cameras because it was so obvious. Like the one running with the streak of red hair, like everyone else had brown hair or blonde hair. And like, there's me with my red hair. And as we're running, whose hair do they see? Like mine, I stand out. So anyway, I was on the bus and I thought it would be really funny to moon the guy in the bus behind. And it was so funny. I'm in the back of the bus and there's like that back window there. And of course I'm standing up like, they're all like, you should do it. And it's so funny because I was mooning the kid in the bus behind me, oblivious that the bus driver's the one in the front of the bus. No one's going to see my butt except for the kid who it's intended for.
Right.
Anyway, I got suspended for indecent exposure.
Oh, gosh.
When I was like 12 years old, 13 years old.
Oh, Lord.
But that's just like, I thought that I was really invisible. I thought that like that's how warped my brain was, is like, I just like, no one's going to see me. Right. No one's going to see me. I'm invisible. Yeah.
Like to have that power. I was raised, my mom told me that no matter what I do, God will always see. So in my mind from a child, I was always being watched.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So much shame there.
Right?
Yeah. Santa Claus, we do the same thing with our kids with Santa Claus.
Yeah. Literally, my son said that to me the other day. And I was like, he's like, Santa's watching us. And I was like, is he? Why is he watching us?
Shit.
And he was like, to see if we're being good. And I was like, what do I say? Like,
right.
You know, but it's like, they sing songs about it in school. Like,
yes, you
know, it's our society and like group mentality sometimes is so difficult to come out of. And to realize, I don't know. That's the thing as a parent is like, sometimes I wonder, like, when do I say, like, tell him the truth, you know, or do I just allow him to figure it out on his own? You know, like that's the like, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it, but
paradox.
Yeah. Or like I don't know. You wonder if you're doing the right thing, you know, in that situation. Like, do I tell him something that I need to prepare him for, or is it something that he's just gonna have to learn on his own? I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. The way you're doing it is exactly the way to do it.
Yeah.
For that day.
Yeah. For that day. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next day it'll be right.
The moment.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I had that same internal battle. Like, it was so hard for me. I used to be like, I don't want to lie to my children. I'm going to teach my children to be liars.
Right.
I don't want to deify Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Right. It's like he's omnipotent, omniscient, all knowing,
Right.
completely present, like sees everything. It's like, okay, we just deified Santa Claus.
Right.
Right. And he'll give you coal, better not cry, better not pout. Santa Claus is coming to town.
I know.
But at the same time, there's like the magic in being able to imagine and create. And I actually had a girlfriend who I loved the way that she approached it. Was she just loved the magic of it. And she's like, I love the magic of Santa Claus, right? Because it makes me like have imagination. And they just like approached it from this really magical standpoint of like there's magic all around us. And I love the story of Santa Claus because of the magic it creates.
Yeah.
And I really loved how she, did that. And we never celebrated Christmas. My kids knew at a very young age, there's no such thing as Santa Claus, that's lying. And so then my kids were very upset because they went to school and they're like, all these parents are lying to their children.
That's the thing too. I'm like, I don't want my child to be the one who's going and bursting other kids' bubbles,
Seriously. So I would tell the kids, I'm like, well, no, they're not really lying. Well, then why? But you told us it would be lying, Mom. I'm like, oh my God, I have created a mess.
I know.
Because like culturally.
Yeah.
And so it's, there is no right way or wrong way. There's only your way, and your way is going to be perfect for you and your child.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Take it one day at a time.
Yep. And just go with your guts with everything. Like I tell people that, I tell myself, remind myself of that all the time. Is like, is this the right thing to do? And it's like, well, ask yourself, is it the right thing to do?
Yeah.
And there's going to be a part of you that's going to argue both sides. Right. Yeah. But if you sit still, one of them is the truth.
Yep.
And the other one is an argument against it.
Yeah.
Right. And so, well, which one's the truth? Right. And so people are like, well, I really don't know what to do. And I say, yes, you do.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I really don't know what to do. No, but you do. You know exactly what you want to do, but you're trying to talk yourself out of it.
Exactly.
So sit down, sit with your truth, make peace with the arguer, right? The one who's saying, don't do it because blah, 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 blah. And what about this? And what about that? And it's scary. Oh, yeah. It's really scary. I had a radio show that I called Living on Your Heart's Edge. And it was all based on that, like when you're living on your heart's edge, you're taking that leap. It's like tapping into that knowing, silencing the critic or the whoever it is that's saying, don't do that. The fear monger, like whoever it is, silencing them and just take a leap and be willing to screw it up. Mm-hmm. Like be willing to make a mistake, be willing to screw it up, be willing to do it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm saying this to myself like repetitively because
it's why people don't try new things, right? It's that fear of failure, that fear, I made a mistake, and then what we make it mean about ourselves, and then we spiral into a depression because we fucked up. Right.
One of the reasons that I think I fell in love with Kyle Cease and kind of started following the Evolving Out Loud, I'll call it a movement. I don't know what he'd feel about me calling his work a movement, but he was kind of culty. He would actually have some whole stand-up comic about it. He was a stand-up comedian for 30 years. Did you ever see 10 Things I Hate About You? Uh-huh. Okay, he was Bogey Lowenstein.
Oh.
Okay, so that's who he was. So he grew up in a family of entertainment. He was a stand-up comedian, and at the height of his stand-up career, like he was doing great, he decided that he really wants to not make people laugh. He wants to help them find joy and change their lives. Yeah. So he wanted to become a transformational speaker. Cool. And he had this idea of, well, what if I combined transformation and comedy? Right? Mm-hmm. And he did, and it's brilliant, and it's like incredible. Anyway, so the book that he wrote is I Hope I Screw This Up. Right? How falling in love with your fears can change the world.
Amazing.
And that just like that in a nutshell, I was like, that is why I love following him, because that speaks to me, because I'm so afraid of making a mistake.
Yep.
Right? Because if you make a mistake, it could be deadly. I mean, I don't know how exactly why, but it could be deadly.
Could be.
It could be deadly. We don't know what the death cause is, but if you make a mistake, somebody could die.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it feels like.
I know.
Like, life is at stake here.
It's really true. Most of our fears stem from the fear of dying. Like, that's like, if you follow back all the fears that you have, be like, okay, why do I feel like this? Okay, because of this. And why do I feel like that? Oh, because of that. Oh, why do I feel like that? Oh, because I think I'm going to die.
Yes.
If I don't get that thing or do that thing.
Right. Mine goes back to disappointment. Sorry, go ahead, Roxanne.
I was just going to say, more for me, it's the fear of dying alone. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I think for me, mine is the fear of disappointing. Because if I disappoint you, or if I break your heart or make you feel pain, that's sort of like if I mess up, then I'm going, like, kind of like what we were talking about earlier with parenting, right? Like, if I do the wrong thing, I'm going to wreck their life, and they're going to have to live with this life of pain.
Yeah.
And that was going to be, I caused this pain for that person. Yeah. Right. Exactly. I'm so powerful. Right?
Exactly.
So funny how you can wrap that back up, take that back to, it's still an ego trip.
Oh, it is. Totally.
Right. I'm so powerful that I can wreck your life.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well, we are getting close to time, and there's so much more to talk about. This is just the beginning of these conversations, and this is ultimately why Bethany and I wanted to just start recording these conversations, because so much comes up, and we want to be able to capture those moments. I would love to dive more into play and into just like what you're doing, Charleen, and also what we're trying to create, which is a retreat that serves women like you, like us, that are looking to be on that journey of being being woke,
being woke,
being woke, and creating a tribe and a connection and being able to tell our stories.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, Charleen, what first of all, what's up next for you, and what would serve you to continue to bring your message to the world?
What's up next for me, as in what am I doing? Okay. Well, I am doing a workshop on November 3rd. It's going to be my first local, longer workshop. I've done a couple of 90-minute ones, and this one is going to be just a 4-hour one, where we're going to have an opportunity to really dive into the workbook. And it's a return to play workshop. And so that's what's coming up for me next. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be here in Bellingham, and I am building up to doing also retreats. So up to a 7-day retreat. And I have one coming up in 2020 in Morocco that I'm going to be participating in with a bunch of other coaches and a bunch of other women and workshop facilitators. But the most immediate is my Return to Play workshop in November in Bellingham that I'm really excited about. And then what would support me? Like, what would, was that your question, Roxanne?
Yeah. I think so many of us women are craving an opportunity to get out of our day-to-day life and source this bigger vision of So what do you see would benefit you and source you? And I know that we've done this many times, just the two or the three of us.
Yeah, I think just coming together and being with other women, getting out of isolation, just that alone, like, gives me goosebumps to think about, because I just, my reconnecting to tribe and community, and it wouldn't matter what we did, just bring us together and let the magic unfold.
Absolutely.
Time to gather, time to be alone. I'm very, very aware right now of how much space and alone time that I need, because my living situation has recently changed, and I'm rekindling an old relationship, and I get lost, like what we were saying earlier, is how we kind of like give out to everybody else, and then don't refill our own cups. So I think if I were at a workshop, I would want definite time to connect, to play, to be silly, to also time to be alone and meditate and walk on the beach and not feel like every minute of my day is scheduled.
Yes.
I think that's something that is important when I think about a workshop. Yeah, and then just having an opportunity to listen and hold space for other women, and having an opportunity to speak and be heard, to feel seen, and to connect, realizing that our stories are all the same, just told in many different ways.
Yeah.
And I love hearing other people's stories.
Wonderful. So how can we connect with you, Charleen?
So probably the easiest way is email. If you want more information about me, like just to like go on and like, you know, silently kind of like, I'm not ready to interact with you, but who are you and what else have you done? You can go to my website, which is charleenhess.com. And my name is spelled Charleen, Hess, Hess, charleenhess.com. And I've got my hair business is on there. My fitness business is on there. And then the workshop is on there, and sort of life coaching and doing that. It's always an ever work in progress, as websites always are. And then email me, return to play at charleenhess.com. Like super easy. Yeah. And then I am on the social medias. I'm not super active on them. I used to be really active, and then I took a social media break because I realized I did the whole like, it's a great way to beat yourself up by comparing yourself to everybody else. And it kind of became this huge time suck that it just took so much time and energy. And then I got away from it for a while, and I've never really fully come back because I realized that it doesn't bring me joy. And it takes so much time, and there's so many other things that I'd rather do with my time. That being said, I also follow some really amazing people on social media, and I love to see what they're up to and how they're doing. And so I do go on in spurts because I also get inspired by other people. I just have to figure out my own balance so that I stay connected to me and I stop looking out there for my satisfaction and fulfillment. But you can go on there. I actually, Roxanne has been posting for me because she's so freaking awesome. Helping me to promote my workshops and everything. But yeah, Instagram, charleenhess.com. Or what is my Instagram? My Instagram is Charleen Hess Empowerment. Okay, Charleen Hess Empower. Thank you. See, I don't even know. Thank you, Roxanne. What's my Facebook? I'm just kidding. My Facebook is Charleen Hess, and Instagram is Charleen Hess Empower. And yeah, that's all I'm on. That's all I can handle. Yeah. That's all Roxanne can handle for me.
A lot. It's thousands of people that their energy you connect with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Absolutely. Erin Brown mentioned that one time at a workshop that I did, that she was one of the speakers at. And she said, imagine that every time you go on Facebook and you scroll and you look at something, you invited them into your room.
Yeah.
And then you scroll through and you look at something and you invite them into your room and them into your room and them into your room. And before you know it, you have a room full of, hundreds of people.
Yep.
They're all here right now in your room with you. Mm-hmm. And she's like, be more like when she said that, it was like, wow, that is so real, because just like what you said, thousands of people you are energetically exchanging with.
Yep.
And so, yeah, so trying to be super aware of that. And then also being conscious of the energy that I am putting out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you're not feeling good and you're feeling like you're comparing and judging other people, you don't want to be on social media sending out that energy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for lending us your beautiful light and energy and your message. And we look forward to having you on again sometime soon.
Yes.
Soon.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Charleen. It was such a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you so much for the two of you. And I love what you're doing. And I'm just so excited to see this grow and expand and touch so many lives. And thank you for who you are in the world. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for stepping out, being seen, being heard, and creating this movement. It's a privilege to be on.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome. All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.